What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, before I get into this video, I'm going to give a shout out to the big homie Ticket TV for his contribution to the channel. Alright, Ticket TV has been a big supporter of my channel for quite some time, man. You know what I'm saying? Ticket TV, to me, has the best basketball videos on YouTube. And so shout out to him. I also want to thank everybody that has supported my channel over the past several years and has contributed over the past several years. I also want to give a shout out to everybody that's come over to the Patreon. All right. I now have over 100 patrons, and I never even thought that I would get to that type of number. And I'm, just so ecstatic at the fact that so many people have come over to support the LDBC in this situation. When you have YouTube obviously targeting us and trying to suppress our viewpoints and our message, and tilting the scale way in favor of the establishment, ESPN, Fox Sports, etc., etc. All right, so I really thank all of you guys that come to the Patreon, and I want to encourage more of you guys to come over to the Patreon. I understand, it's really a difficult time for a lot of people. We are in a situation that is nearly and pretty much unprecedented, or something that at least hasn't happened in a couple of lifetimes. But that's why I try to make it only $2 per month. It's only $2 per month. So if you're able to do so, please come over to the Patreon for only $2 per month. Now, a lot of people have been pissed off at Michael Jordan ever since ESPN has aired this 10-part docuseries. And most famously, Scottie Pippen has been supposedly described as livid as to how he was portrayed in the series. Now, another name has come up. Another person has expressed their displeasure at how they were portrayed, and that is the Hall of Famer Clyde Drexler. Now, Clyde Drexler was on Sports Talk 790 and talked about his appearance on that show. And he said, quote, "That's Michael's documentary, so obviously it's going to be from his perspective. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. A lot of times guys didn't like each other from other teams, but as you get older, you got to get beyond all of that and show some love and some respect for the people you played with and against. This is a team game. It's not one guy. You can have 50 points and 40 rebounds, but if you lose, are you less of a player than anybody on the other team? No, it's a team game. So I hate when people act like it's an individual competition. I didn't take 35 shots and get 20 free throws a night, so I wasn't going to score 40 points a night." Okay, so I take from him saying this is a team game. It's not one guy. Okay, so I guess he's sort of saying, like, look, I was more of a team. I'm a team player. The way our offense was, my numbers were never going to be quite like how Mike was. Well, I mean, if you look at those Portland teams, in my opinion, right? If you really look at those Portland Trailblazer teams, man for man, they were more talented than the Chicago Bulls. So let's establish that right now. You know what I'm saying? That they were more talented overall. All right, Kevin Duckworth, for all of the flack he got for his may he rest in peace, for all the flack he got for his lack of conditioning at times, was better than any center we had. Okay? Clyde was tremendous. Cliff Robinson is a guy that's a just out of reach Hall of Fame, borderline Hall of Fame caliber player. Over 19,000 career points. Great player when he played in the NBA. I think he played something like 18 seasons, right? Jerome Kersey was on that team. Danny Ainge, I believe, was on that team. All right. They had a lot of... Terry Porter was on that team. Terry Porter was better than any point guard we ever had. So that team, to me, was better than the Chicago Bulls. The differences was Michael Jordan. And to an extent, Scottie Pippen. But Michael Jordan, at that point, was a phenomenal basketball player who could close the gap, just enough for the Bulls to be able to... Look, to me, Jordan was so phenomenal at that time that if he played at his level, at his normal standard, and if you were a teammate of his and you did what you had to do and you played your role and contributed, it was enough to beat teams that on paper were better than us. Now, later on, when he came out of retirement, I don't think Jordan was quite as good. And he needed more help. But, there are a lot of things that he says to me, this thing about I didn't take 35 shots and 20 free throws a night. Look, well, Michael had games where he took 35 shots. I'm not going to say he didn't. But he didn't average 35 shots a night. You know what I'm saying? I think the most shots Mike ever averaged in the season was 27. I think that was the 86-87 season when he averaged 37 points a game. And I want to make a note of something, too. Michael took, I believe, 66 or 41 3-point attempts. I get them mixed up between 87 and 88. But I want to say he took maybe 60-something 3-point attempts in the entire season. That's less than one attempt per game. Contrast that to James Harden, who last year made 5 3-pointers a game plus. So if you had Michael shooting 3 at that proficiency, that prolifically, his percentage would go down. He would probably go down to being from 48.2% maybe to 46, 46.5%, okay? But he would average 42 points a night. But Michael on average took about 22 to 23 shots a night. Was that a lot of attempts? Maybe. But this is the thing, too. Clyde took maybe fewer shots, but Clyde still wasn't as efficient as Michael. I think Clyde shot something about between 47 and 48% for his career. Mike shot just shy of 50%. Just shy of 50% from the floor. Jordan was a better free throw shooter. To me, the advantages Clyde had, where I think he was able to display that he was a better, maybe a more prolific passer, maybe a more prolific playmaker, and he was a better rebounder. In fact, he was the best offensive rebounder in the history of the NBA. He has the record for most offensive rebounds in NBA history. Clyde, to me, was a average defender. Jordan, even though he got a lot of steals. And steals is often a misleading indicator of defense. Jordan is arguably one of the best, if not one of the two best defensive shooting guards in the history of the NBA. and he got steals at an even higher rate than Clyde Drexler. So that's enough to separate the two, as enough as it is. But Jordan was a better offensive player. Jordan was more dynamic. Jordan was a better finisher. And Clyde was athletic too. He was Clyde the Glide. But even in that aspect, which was his greatest strength from the offensive standpoint, Jordan was just on another freakish level. All right? To me, Jordan was a better leader. Jordan was more clutch. Jordan rose his performance as all the all-time greats do when the pressure was on and the situation called for it. In the playoffs, Jordan consistently rose his already great performances. You know, his level of performance. Clyde didn't always do that. So that's why Jordan said, I'm not saying Clyde wasn't a threat. Clyde was the second best shooting guard in the NBA. Until he hurt his knee. I think it was in 93 or 94. Until he hurt his knee, Clyde was the second best shooting guard in the NBA. Then I would say it was Mitch Richmond. And this thing about him taking 20 free throws a night is absolute pure bullshit. Okay? Absolute pure bullshit. Earlier in his career, yeah, Michael went to the foul line a lot. I've addressed this quite a few times. Earlier in his career, Michael went to the foul line a lot. He peaked at, I think he took 972 free throw attempts in the 86-87 season. All right, you had a lot of teams and coaches and organizations complain to league office about him getting too many calls. And over the next several years, gradually Michael's free throw attempts went down. All right, and this is before he, started playing off the ball and became more of a jump shooter. Okay, the next year he shot 860 free throws. All right, I think the next year was like 733 or something. And it kept going down and down and down to the point where in the 91-92 season, which is the one we're addressing, he was third in the league in free throws, way behind Karl Malone and behind Charles Barkley. He was third. And on a per nightly basis, it was even worse because some of those guys under him didn't play every night. I'll compare it to you. Michael that year took 7.3 free throw attempts, which is not a huge amount of foul shots. Kevin Johnson took 7.1. We're talking about a point guard now. Kevin Johnson took 7.1 free throw attempts per night. So Michael was not sitting there getting all these, extra freebies. Don't turn him into James Harden. All right? So that's the thing I have a problem with. Michael, in that particular game, the storyline behind that game was who was the better player. It was an actual debate. You know what I'm saying? I don't like how people try to change history on us. All right? It was an actual debate, and it was an actual conversation. Who was the real MVP? The Bulls had won, at that time, a franchise record 67 games during the regular season. All right? Portland, I believe, won 61 games in the Western Conference. All right? But it could be argued that at that time, the Western Conference may have been a little bit more competitive than the Eastern Conference. Maybe. But their games were comparable. Both of them were very athletic shooting guards. Jordan was 6'6" listed. Clyde 6'7". Clyde was a little bit bigger. Okay. Their games were very comparable. Except for the fact that some people said Clyde was a better three-point shooter. And that's why you saw Michael teeing off like that. It was uncharacteristic for Michael to do it, but he wanted to prove that if I chose to shoot the goddamn shot, I could be doing this too. That was the point. His point was, don't ever fucking underestimate me. And I love that mentality. And if Jordan is still holding grudges from back then, well, you know, that might be a little bit unfortunate. But I can tell you something about myself. I'm a pretty nice guy. Okay? But if you've done something that I found offensive, I'll hold a grudge forever. I'm not the most forgiving person in the world, my goddamn self. I mean, if you come to me and forgive me, you know, if you ask for forgiveness, then I'll forgive you. But I'm not one of those persons to turn the other cheek, my goddamn self. If you've done something or said something that I found offensive to me in some type of way, shape or form, then I'm not going to fucking forgive you. Fuck you. I mean, aren't we already getting on enough people turning the cheek in these situations in life with Amber Geiger and all these fucking tragedies that are coming on? We got all these people that want to turn the other cheek. The guy in New York that was bird watching, supposedly, a woman was going to try to take him out. And he's trying to turn the other cheek and be all forgiving and understanding. Fuck all of that, man. Fuck you. I'm not turning the other cheek. I'm glad Michael Jordan don't like Jerry Krause and don't like him now. So at the end of the day, you know, Michael's an asshole. That's already been well established. We know that. He's a complete asshole. Is Michael the GOAT? That's subjective to opinion. I think he is. There are some people who don't feel that way. And they give perfectly, you know, reasonable explanations why they don't feel that way. And I understand their opinions. All right? So, at the end of the day, that's all I got to say. Tell me what you guys think.